Hey, boy. All right.
Oh, how are you, ma'am?
Okay. Is that it? Monica's gonna come right back. So, hi, how are you?
How's everything going?
Yeah, could be better.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. I think Monica, I'm just waiting on Monica. I don't want to start yet. $1 short. Oh, good. All right. I'd like to open the workshop meeting for tonight. We have a couple of things that we were hoping to discuss and go over as a board. I broke them up into, as you can see, old business, new business. So anything we've kind of discussed on an agenda before, put that in old business. And of course, there's a couple of new things. The first one is our escrow law, which was adopted in 2004. So it's quite old. It's 22 years old. And after reviewing it and actually reviewing it with our accountant as well, we found that there is an issue because in our law, we have it written that the town clerk is responsible for tracking and receiving payments for planning board, zoning board, any of the boards that can collect escrow. It's listed as the town clerk as being the person that's collecting them. And that is not what actually happens, and it shouldn't happen. It shouldn't be part of her duties as an elected official, as a town clerk. It's actually the duties of the planning and zoning clerk to do that. And then they collect it, they record it, and then they are giving it to Monica as the town clerk or myself because we handle the finances of this. So in the law, I went through, and there are a few places where it actually talks about the any place that it recommends the town clerk is either reaching out to the applicant or collecting fees. I think we need to actually change that to be the planning and zoning clerk to make it appropriate. Not, I mean, not only is that really not her responsibility, it also is the best way for this to happen and for this to work. And there was something else that I noticed was interesting, and I'd be interested to hear how you guys feel about this. How escrow is calculated. To my knowledge, it's not calculated the same way as it says in here, where it's a percentage of the project cost. It talks about for residential projects, the the project value is based on the purchase price of the land and the fair market value of the land, whichever is higher. And the escrow deposit shall be no more than 2% of the total project value. And I'm not seeing that happening. I think it's more at this point having the consultant kind of do a quick review and give an estimate of what they think that their fees would cost for something like this. And for commercial projects, it's a little different as far as how you figure out the purchase price or project cost. And for commercial projects, it should be no more than 1% of the total project value. So again, I think that's what's happening. Is that they're not actually like using this type of calculation. They're doing more of having our consultants review it and give an estimated cost of what their services would be.
The clarification, the estimated cost of the full project with the structure completed?
So it does.
I was gonna say, it was confusing how you said that. You said it based on the
Yeah.
cost of the land.
Yep.
You didn't say based on the cost of the project.
Plus all required site improvements. It doesn't, so total project value shall be calculated based on actual price of the land or fair market value of the land. So if there isn't, like, they didn't just purchase the land to do something with it, whichever is higher, plus the cost of site improvements. So
About the building.
it's not including building cost as this is written. But we could question that.
I think we need to have somebody look at it, and we maybe need to compare to what other people are doing for escrow. We need to come up with a set way to calculate it.
Yep.
So everybody can know what it will be, not, so they could figure it out themselves. Not have us say, okay, come pie in the sky and figure it out.
Yeah. I agree. I like the fact if there's a calculation, it's very clear and
It's gotta be in writing for everybody to
writing.
find and.
and easy to follow and easy for individuals to find that information so that they know what it's gonna be.
I would agree.
Yeah.
The other thing is how are we doing with our escrows right now? Are we always having to go back to the property owner and saying, okay, we're running short?
Yes, we
We don't
do.
want that to keep happening because then it makes them feel that we just keep asking them for more and more money.
Right.
Okay,
So when we do that, we have to provide documentation to them. Either way, they have to have documentation of what their money is being used
Right.
for. And so, and they have to be in an agreement. Like
Mhm.
it's an agreement as well. So,
I think finding out, like you said,
yeah,
having a calculation that anybody can say, okay, this is what I'm supposed to be paying for the escrow, at least to start with.
right.
I
And-
agree with that.
I think that is probably a really good way to do that. And,
Really worried about land disturbance, right? And it's not an architectural thing.
well, I don't know. I don't think I can answer that because that could be considered part of your project costs.
Right, but that would be unfair.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I agree with David. I think it's a good idea to look at other municipalities that do similar type of things and see
Yeah.
what kind of, what their protocol is and if we can incorporate that into here to improve this one.
I have a question out there. I don't know if we're taking.
We generally don't, but Phil would be a good question because you are a planning board member.
Okay,
A lot of times we basically escrow all of what the consultant fees are proposed to be to the community,
Right.
like on the south side. There is no one who doesn't know the panel, so we base it off what we ask our consultants, planners to recommend to us. So
Right.
it's like, about this $500 for amendments, there's no like formula.
okay.
Yeah,
Good to know.
yeah.
You sure there's not something where they look at a project and they know you're gonna have X number of consultants for certain things? I mean, we're not the first place to start building and planning. It's gotta be some type of set
Like who you would,
calculation somewhere
as far as, right,
for what you would use for, there's gotta be something that says in these projects, X number of consulting firms are normally used and it's it's gotta be a percentage of a commercial project.
right.
Because you would
I
think,
understand.
because quite honestly, any commercial entity, that's gotta be a number you lock in before you decide you're gonna do a project.
Right.
You don't wanna get started in the project and then all of a sudden find out you've got, $40,000 more worth of consulting fees you've gotta pay and because that changes your whole calculation for everything.
I know that that is part of the building permit process. I do know there is an estimated cost on that, but not every,
I mean,
although it
that might be
should.
why most builders and contractors don't wanna build in Ankrum,
Right, well.
because they keep running into unknown costs. They don't, just ask them, I work with them all the time. And they refuse jobs in Akron to stay away from our planning board.
Right,
And that's not a joke, that's a fact.
yeah. So, I think this is a way to make it clearer how our costs are charged. So I think by revising this, I think we can make that much
Right.
easier for builders and just actually the regular,
Quick, but
it'll happen. I think it has to happen.
I think it has to happen. I just don't know if we'll make it, you know.
Yeah,
But,
right.
somehow,
It's different. Yeah, absolutely. And that is already broken out between residential and commercial. There is that delineation here, which is good. But maybe we need to just be clearer, consistent, and exactly what residential project costs are. What do they exactly include? And how can we make that better and make it better for people using the actual planning and zoning department? Okay, so my action item will be to call around to the different municipalities and get some escrow laws and see how theirs are written so we can look at them.
You can probably research a lot of it online.
We can,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
That would be great.
I
Amy.
would think we could research it and then we have to, unfortunately, we're gonna have to consult with our lawyer about how
I
you
know.
write it. I mean,
Yeah,
there's nothing,
certainly.
that's not gonna go away. That's something it's gotta be written properly to be
Certainly.
legally enforceable.
Yes, I agree. Absolutely. Okay, so that is a good start. If you guys read through this and you see other things that you think are weird or unclear, now would be the time that we fix them. Before, and I envision us creating like from our research, like a list of the things that we want to change and then providing that to the lawyer for them to actually do the legal codification of it. So, okay, that's good. All right. Next thing is our 250th year celebration. What we want to do. I did receive a call yesterday from Libby McKee, and she is very interested in helping with the planning of this. So, that is a good thing to have extra people. What do you guys want to do? I am open to most anything.
We should have a committee.
I think so too.
One.
One more committee, but
But I think we need a group that's gonna bring ideas to us.
okay.
I think.
I think that's a great idea. Maybe we'll just advertise it on the Ingram email. We can do that as one. Certainly, we can bring it up at board meetings.
Yeah.
And
Because the time it's gonna come up on us before we know
it is.
I was
It
gonna
is.
say, quite honestly, considering that's 4th of July,
Yeah,
we're already running pretty late.
yeah,
Quite honestly, to figure something out, you're less than 4 months from it.
yeah.
So we can't take a long time. I also think we need to take into account everybody else in the world's gonna be doing something.
You're right.
I mean, so it might behoove. And to talk to some of the other towns, find out what they're doing. Maybe you could do it in conjunction. Just like we do our Memorial Day parade in conjunction with, which it's in Ankrum this year.
Yeah.
The Memorial Day parade, but we do that in conjunction with Hillsdale, and Copic and, basically Cravel, Taconic, our battalion and the fire service. So,
We might as well
They
work
go
with them.
tie it into that.
Yeah, we'll work with them and
well, that
Give-
just, that cuts your time too, because that's end of May. That's even sooner.
I know.
I mean, we are planning the parade, but if you're gonna do anything else to
right.
make it part of the celebration for, but not bicentennial, but for the 250-year celebration, we've gotta
And
get to it.
Yeah, I agree.
250-year all year.
Right.
So even if
True.
you all decided not to do something maybe in the summer, maybe do a fall event.
Yeah, we certainly could do that.
So, because it's the 250, yeah, it's July 4th, but we're 250 years old for all of 2026. So
Okay.
maybe,
Yeah,
if the other towns are really, really busy for the summer months, maybe a September thing.
okay.
Where it's still nice enough weather that we could do something outside. But a lot of the big hubbub is the,
I'm just saying, if we already own that day with the parade.
Right.
it's Perfect time for us.
Yeah.
to just
Yeah.
build something
Mhm.
around it
Yeah.
on that
Agreed.
day.
The only thing we have to think about is, where we're gonna be ending up, so if we do wanna incorporate that, depending if we're ending up on the ball field, depending if we're here, we're gonna have to figure all that out. Because, you'll have a bigger, hopefully, a bigger, gathering,
Right.
so we'll have to think about, we may wanna change things up.
Okay.
You know, but I think it's doable.
Okay. So I'm happy to serve on the committee. Monica, do you want to serve on the committee? Because I know she wants us to do some sort of ball game.
Yeah.
I remember her saying something
Oh, it
about
was
that.
an
wasn't it?
idea.
It was her idea.
But one thing I was thinking about, and I have reached out to our town historians, and they are, a while ago, and they were excited about this to do, some sort of a genealogy thing, a family tree, thing where people could come in, have like a seminar on this is how you go about doing a family tree. These are the resources that are out here. Maybe tied in with having somebody from the DAR here about tracing your roots to the revolution, that sort of
That
thing.
would be very interesting, I think.
And I think we need to be aware too, that we have a very, very large piece of the revolution right here in the town of Ankrum, which is our Ankrum paper mill.
Yeah.
So, I think maybe, we should reach out to them and see if they want to be involved. It's just,
Good
they did
idea.
produce Cannonball,
Exactly.
No,
They've got
they also
some-
produce part of the
the
chain.
chain.
Yeah, so
So I would think I can handle talking, communicating with Pete.
Thank you.
If that might be an option, I'm kind of involved with the parade.
So is that you wanting to be on the committee?
kind of. She's kind of involved with the parade, just a little.
I don't want to be on the committee.
You don't want to be on the
Put me
committee, but you will help.
That's-
You'll help with the paper mill liaison.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess we're all gonna end up working on this,
I think
and I know
it's gonna
Libby
be a
is
group
interested.
effort.
Yeah, and I know Libby is interested. She mentioned about being a part of the DAR.
Yeah, Libby is a part of the DAR, so she'd be
She'd be great.
excellent to
Yeah.
have help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a chair
Mhm,
of the committee
Mm-hmm.
and the board representation.
yeah.
Meaning not me.
I'm just thinking to myself, not me. I don't know if I really want to be chair.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think it should be somebody in the community.
If I'll
Yeah.
ask Libby if she would maybe want to be the chair.
No,
And that way, because she sounded like she had some good ideas.
Yeah.
so-
As soon as we get more people, we'll be able to figure out, ideas and who might be a good chair.
Yeah, definitely.
can we do some sort of costumes? I'm all about costumes.
Oh, no.
I'm gonna have on my marching uniform, okay?
No.
That's my costume.
You don't
We'll
wanna.
do something with the town board.
Costumes, yes. We could have some sort of contest. There's no saying you can do that or reenactment. You
We
could
could have, we have a big room here. We could have a ball.
We have a
could do a
lot
lot.
to discuss, apparently,
Right.
a wide range of things.
We do.
We could
definitely
have
do.
George Washington come.
And I'll also reach out to Copic and Hillsdale and find out.
They're gonna be here.
Yeah, they're gonna be.
They're gonna be here for
Well, they
Memorial
can be
Day.
involved. Yeah.
Find out when they're doing their stuff,
Yeah.
so we don't.
And
Yeah,
if they
but-
come to Memorial
But they won't be
Day,
doing it Memorial Day. That's why it
Yeah.
makes it a good day for us. We're already,
be ready by Memorial Day, but it can't hurt to try,
Okay.
so.
no, don't do it.
Okay, so new business. So kids camp and pool is fast approaching. So we received the paperwork for that. Did you see that I had put that on your desk to send to Taylor?
Yeah, it's in the mail to go out
Perfect.
tomorrow.
I did meet with her quickly about things for getting up and running. She did talk with Matt Damon. He is willing to be the deputy camp counselor.
Okay.
As far as she knows, that's what she had talked about. So we're starting to go and get that ready, not looking to change a lot of things for the camp. You know, pretty much keeping it the same age range is gonna be the same. I'm trying to look and just make sure that I have everything that we talked about. I think she said her biggest issue, I think, was just dealing with late pickups. And there were a couple of people or times where they were more habitually late. She's like, I don't, care if it's a one-off, just give her a call, let her know what's going on. But so just trying to be more regimented about that for her on her side.
Gradually pick up the-
I was thinking the same thing. That's what daycares do, and it
Yeah.
goes by like either a 10-minute or a 15-minute time frame, and there's a fee for each
Yeah,
level.
that's what the daycare used to do with my kids, and that was 1,000 years ago. So yeah, there was a,
Yeah, you look good for 1,000.
I know I'm 1,000 years old, but
Extenuating circumstances,
totally, yeah,
but if somebody's habitually late, then.
yeah.
Misusing that.
There's usually always one or two. I know there was, when there was preschools before, they just had to. So that might make a difference.
Yeah, definitely.
They don't want to make it punitive, but you can make it mean something.
Right. Right, because there are things that they have to do afterwards, as far as cleanup, that it's hard to do if they're having to watch kids for an extra amount of time. So,
One more note on that is,
Yeah.
I have been interviewing, actually lifeguards.
okay,
So the only thing I'm looking for, I would love to get somebody for WSI that can, do swim lessons.
Mhm.
So I have to start looking for that, and I need older lifeguards. They have to be 18.
okay.
So if anybody knows somebody who's 18 and is looking to work in the hot sun, give us a call.
Yeah. Do you know what the training cost? Like, I assume that YSI training is more expensive than the regular training.
Yeah, it is, but if they do the WSI training, we usually pay for the course, but then they kind of
You have to commit.
guarantee that they'll be with us for 2 years.
Okay. That makes sense.
It's a tough course. It is a tough course. And you have to be, I think you have to be 18 to take it.
Okay. All right. So, I did receive from the county, like this week, it's a memorandum of understanding for us to enter into. This has more to do with the pool. For the swims grant that the county applied on our behalf. So all the municipalities that have swimming programs are entitled to a portion of that. And so I guess I'll talk about it in the regular meeting, but I do need probably permission to actually sign the contract. The amount that the town receives, which can be put towards the salaries of the lifeguards, is $3,571. So that helps a little bit.
Take it.
We'll take it. It goes towards, salaries of the lifeguards. The other thing I did is did write for the Greene County, they have a grant program. I asked for $5,000 to help offset some of the camp costs. So that's camp specific. I mean, I included, as far as understanding the program costs, both camp and pool, but it would probably go mostly to the camp. That's fine.
I think we got
So.
1,000.
Yeah. So I think I wrote for 5. We'll see what we get. You never know. You can always be optimistic.
They've been good
right?
to us other years.
Sure.
In the past, they've given more than 1,000. I know they have.
Yeah, so
Can we recruit Art again for his, kind of retrieving donations? He does usually a really good job talking about different people that will donate toward the camp and the pool. And he's done really good, in the past. I don't know if he'd still be interested.
yeah,
I think he might be on.
just
they-
helping us get the word out.
Yeah,
and
like he
recruiting.
did a great job, obtaining money, so.
Okay, yeah, that's a good idea. Now, the other question I thought we could bring up and discuss I am open to all discussion about it, is whether we want to start charging a small fee for camp for people within the town to help offset the costs. So I started a comparison of looking at all of the programs that are in Columbia County and the prices that they charge. And this is something we don't necessarily need to really decide about tonight. There's a couple that I've got to find more info on, but they run the wide gamut. Some are very high.
Is this a 125 for the season per
Ye-
child or per week? Because sometimes they do it either way.
The, which, one, the 120 or 115, you mean?
I was looking at Hillsdale just because my
Okay.
wife put on that.
It is, it looks like it's for the season.
Okay.
These, all of these, they didn't break it down by week, so
Okay.
I'm guessing they're of a seasonal,
I would think so, but
yeah. And some, like Chatham, charge separately for swim lessons. We
Mhm.
don't charge for swim lessons, but some of them are quite high. And this may not be a road we want to go down at this point, you know. But it's just something to talk about and think about.
I think you could charge like a small amount and it would be, I mean, we're talking daycare for like 5 days.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
maybe we can figure out something and, but
yeah.
wouldn't be much, but maybe a
No.
little bit. I don't even know. The question is, would it be worth the offset?
Well, you also run into the fact when you get a family that's got multiple kids,
Mhm.
which is one of the reasons, we looked at all the other things we do for the town and the different places we're charging money, doing different things, and we said, if we can't help our kids, what are we gonna do?
Right. Right.
So, and I don't know, I have mixed opinions about that.
Sure.
I think it's good that, quite honestly, the residents of our town go for free, but we also got to the point where we were taking in everybody and their brother. And, you know, I don't see where we've got to charge for non-residents or anything. I mean, I sure think,
Yeah.
yeah, but I think we should have a charge for non-residents. Kids that aren't living here in the town should have to pay.
Mhm.
I mean, if we're gonna provide the service, I mean, maybe give it free to the kids that live here in town, and the kids that don't.
And we do charge for Acton.
Okay.
I know, but it doesn't say so here, is all.
No.
I just put free for that.
Probably charge for kids that don't go to a local school district.
With-
With grandparents have their kids for the summer.
Mhm. Right, right.
Well, those aren't kids that live here in
Right.
Lebanon.
So are you saying to charge for them or not to charge for them?
I don't think we should charge, I'm not in favor of charging for residents.
Okay.
Right.
But I do think we should charge something fair for non-residents and the kids that are
Yep.
imported in.
Okay.
We're not necessarily, not just, you know, like
I agree.
next time over, but the grandparents who look after their kids and on them up on us. That's okay.
It was okay. Nice way of putting it.
Nice way, an easy way of putting it, but this
Okay.
is just food
Reality.
for thought, you know, just to look at and to think about.
Okay.
Taylor said she will be available to come next month. And she can talk to us more and have a better, you know, a little bit, you know, more things set. So the last one is the trending assessment. Monica, you're probably gonna have to help me with this and explaining this. I sat
Go
down,
back to the.
Yeah, oh.
1 sec.
yes,
Do we have a commitment from neighbors that they're gonna look at the lunches again?
I haven't specifically talked with Jack and Chris about that, but I will double check that and make sure.
This tomorrow morning, so I can.
Oh, okay, yeah, definitely. Perfect. When I spoke with Jack, this was months ago about it, and he spoke like they were, but we should probably confirm that. Okay, all right, so now trending. Full disclosure, not an assessor.
I don't understand it either. I'm gonna be
And Renee could not be here. I think said he was in Claremont tonight. He will be here for next month. He said he will come and explain this a little bit better. So we had a reevaluation, a full reval in 2022. And at that point, that brought our equalization to 100, if not nearly 100%.
We were at 100.
Yeah. The last review shows us now sitting at 90%. And part of the, oh, okay, we can go back. Okay, so we've had a couple of larger sales in which the sales were much higher than the actual value of the property, and that is creating our equalization to drop quite a bit.
Say that.
So we've had some sales of properties that are much higher even than their asking price or their assessed value. Assessed?
Yeah.
Nobody's willing to sell their house for what their assessed value is.
Right. No.
They always want more.
And some of these are significantly more. So they might be asking 2,000 or 2 million and they're getting 8 million or 10 million. So they're getting significantly above the price is that were, projected. So his concern is that if we don't do what they call a trending, which is a not a full revaluation, it's done through the state. He's afraid that the equalization rate due to these larger sales is going to drop below 90 and be around 85. The issue is if we were to follow a 5-year plan, next year we would be considering a full reval, the possibility of doing that if we did it every 5 years. But he feels like even if we put in for it next year, that they wouldn't get to it until 2028 or 2029, because they have quite a few of these that are in the system. That his concern is that if it drops a lot lower, when they do the reval, there could be some crazy fluctuations in the values, and then that transfers to your property tax and your school tax. Most importantly, your school tax. How did I do, Monica?
Sounds about right.
Sounds about right.
Okay.
The other thing I think we need to remember is as our equalization rate drops, that then impacts exemptions.
Right.
So ones that I believe that it impacts, it's like our vet exemptions, that sort of thing. They don't get, I believe it is, they don't get their full exemption. They only get a portion of it. So, it's and I could be wrong. I think if it drops below a certain amount, there's something like if we hit a certain amount, the state automatically bumps us.
I was going to say, you get a reval anyhow.
Right.
Once you get to a certain point, that's why we did the reval in 2022, because we were just above the range where the state was going to come in and do a reval anyhow. And it was better to do your own reval and hire the company than to let the state come do it.
Right.
At least that's what we were told.
Okay.
So it's a catch-22, because if your equalization rate starts going down, they look at say you're assessed for something, say $500,000, and it's at 80%. They charge you 20% more for all your taxes anyhow. So you're paying on a higher rate. So we got a question.
Yes, Bill.
Is it now maybe the, like, or that if you giant outliers that don't resemble anything like the middle of it, and you just don't count them to it? Seems weird, like if somebody like you said, it has $2 million property, and they sell it for $20 million. That creates this giant imbalance. It's really just one person. They don't need to deal with the rest of the data. There's no way to just sort of chop off
The outliers.
the outliers. What is it about?
I don't.
So
think
when a
We all think it should happen that way, but the state doesn't.
Right.
And that's where it's at.
they have what's called a long arm sale. So let's say you sell to your child and you just do a deed transfer for $50, but your property's worth 300,000. That's not a long arm sale. A arm sale has something to do with the market value and is this the way it's trending on the market value type of thing. So if we have a property that we have assessed for 500,000 and it sells for 750 or $1 million, the real estate market is saying that's what people are going to pay for that house. And the state's kind of fussy about that. So what you're saying makes totally perfect common sense. We're not dealing, I believe,
But we're
in
talking
common
about the
sense.
state.
Yeah.
And that's our biggest problem is we're seeing places that are on the market that are for a certain amount. We have them assessed for one amount. They're being sold for, or at least advertised to be sold for more than what we have it assessed for. And then there's bidding wars over them and the prices are going through the roof.
We had one a couple years ago when we did the reeval that actually grieved. His reevaluation wanted it lowered and only wanted it lowered by $50,000. Because if the assessment was low, was that point, he could sell the house for X amount above that. But if it wasn't at that stage, he couldn't sell the house. The house was sold the next morning after we settled that grievance. And it happened within less than 24 hours and banged it through. And those are types of things that chase you. You know, these are sales and it's going on and it's probably gonna go on again, you know, I mean, that's. People are gonna move out of New York City, so you know where they're going all over.
And he sold that more than the assessed value. like-
Oh, quite a bit more
Yeah.
than. We dropped the assessed value by $50,000 and it came into the range he needed and he sold it for $500,000 more. So it was a bingo game.
So, what Renee did tell me, it would be something that he would rather act upon a little quicker. So I just didn't want you to be blindsided or anything. I wanted you to know that he's gonna come in and talk with us about it in March and hopefully, and certainly call him and ask him questions, cause know that I didn't do that justice, trying to explain that. So,
I believe trending is where it's not every house gets looked at. It's where the trends are for the sales
yeah.
is the way I understand it, but I could be wrong.
I think you are right. I think that he said it wouldn't be for every property, like, where they have the people from the county coming out, looking, doing
Mhm.
all of that. It's not like that.
Which is like a 2-year process.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you've taken a lot of the assessing training, so you're like, I consider her like our deputy assessor here. I ask her questions all the time, but.
Yeah, no, it's
her
not my
official.
forte. All I know is there's no such a thing as a floating deck. No matter what my grandfather said, you're still going to be taxed.
Okay, 30, right? I remember you said that. All right, so that's all I have for this. Any other questions or comments or things you wanna bring out? Okay. I'll take a motion to adjourn the workshop meeting.
I make that motion.
All in favor? Aye. Aye. Thanks. TBD. What was this? Hey. I won't. Thank you. Everyone's so quiet. Okay, I'd like to call the meeting to order and join me in a pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, just a quick recusal check. Is there anything on the agenda that any town board members feel the need to recuse themselves from? I don't think so. I think we're good. Okay. So we have a few different things of minutes. We have minutes from our regular January meeting. We have minutes from the two special board meetings. And we're gonna hold off on the organizational because we just got it today, and I think it would be better if we all had a chance to
So it's year end,
in the year end. Yeah.
regular January meeting.
Yeah.
Two special meetings. And then there was the organizational meeting minutes, which were either 15 or 16 pages long.
yeah.
So I do think I would much rather you all look through them,
Okay.
the organizational ones, because they are like a mini novel.
Yeah.
And make sure that they are okay
All right.
before you pull that Band-Aid.
Yeah, I think we could probably do both special meetings. We could vote on those and the January town board meeting. We definitely could do that. Does anyone have any comments, questions, corrections? I sent you mine and they were
Yep.
very minimal. So I will take a motion to accept the meeting, the three meetings, February 3rd, February 10th, and January
20th, I think it
20th.
was.
A second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. We have two recognitions tonight. Can you see if Ruth is on Zoom? Ruth Whitlinger? Okay, great. Hi, Ruth.
We're gonna ask about.
Okay.
Hi, guys.
Hi. So, we just wanted to thank you for your service to the town, and I have a quick resolution to read into the minutes. And unfortunately, Ruth couldn't be here. She had an injury, so I probably will come over and visit you and actually hand you your recognition, so.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah. This is a resolution of appreciation honoring Ruth Whitlinger. Whereas Whitlinger has served the town of Ankrum Court as a for over 2 years.
With a launch to an 84-degree indoor water park to incredible attraction. There's excitement for your whole pack. Book the ultimate spring break getaway before it ends.
Maybe,
At com.
because I can hear the background and stuff. Okay, cool. Whereas the town of Ankrum Court Clerk Ruth was a steward of the town's interests both locally and within Columbia County. And whereas Ruth worked with the Columbia County Magistrates Association, serving as secretary and on various committees and work groups, be it resolved that the town board and residents of the town of Ankrum express their appreciation to Ruth Whitlinger for her hard work, dedication, enthusiasm, and wishes Ruth all of the best in her well-deserved retirement from the position of town of Ankrum clerk. Thank you. Thank you, Ruth.
Thank you.
Thank you. We have a second appreciation. This is honoring Lori Wydell. Whereas Lori Wydell served as the town of Ankrum deputy court clerk for over 5 years. And whereas Lori has served the residents of the town of Ankrum by executing her duties as deputy court clerk. And resolved that the town board and the residents of the town of Ankrum express their appreciation for Lori Wydell for her hard work, dedication, and enthusiasm, and wishes Lori all the best in her well-deserved retirement from the position of deputy court clerk. Thank you, Lori. I know you. Okay, we have a slight change in our agenda. We're gonna bump up Councilwoman Gold's board report, because she is reporting on the tech committee, just so that Bill can head out. He has to leave, so. Amy, take it away.
Okay, I have the long-awaited report on the web selection, the web vendor selection. Okay, we have a set of slides to go along with the presentation. No? Okay. Okay, you'll go without it. Okay, we'll go without it. Okay, once again, the committee members, on the town website redesign were myself, Monica, Bill Hatt, Michael Del Rossi, and Isabel Connell. And I really want to give my great thanks to everybody who participated in this, because it was a long, fairly arduous and hopefully very rewarding process. So once again, we had community input. We sent out a survey, as you may recall. We had over 70 responses. And the results from the website survey identified the top priorities as ease of searchability, up-to-date information, and the ability for residents to directly contact town departments and individuals. The project goals that we set upon were to ensure .gov and ADA compliance, improve ease of use and navigation for the public, improve ease of use for town employees and volunteers responsible for web updates. And that's really critical, because we previously had just a point of contact, and we would have to wait for that person to upload anything that had to be changed, and sometimes it was just a long wait. So with this new setup, individuals that are given clearance will be able to upload reports and information directly to the website. The process that we went through was we reviewed 5 initial vendors and advanced 3 of them to a formal RFP process. That's a request for proposal. The 5 contenders were Civic Plus, Town Web, and Revise. And then based on the RFP responses and platform demonstrations, the committee unanimously recommended Civic Plus as the company that we prefer to work with. Civic Plus we felt had superior platform functionality, usability, and long-term scalability. The long-term scalability is important because that means it can adapt to future needs and future technology. So we're not going to be stuck with an old technology. Civic Plus is widely used by municipalities and is what they call purpose-built for public sector accessibility. So they do work with small municipalities, larger municipalities, but that's what their specialty is. So we're not just looking for a design company. They provide ongoing hosting, support, and training to ensure continuity as staff changes over time. They have a suite of additional offerings, including facility booking, so people can actually book a meeting room or a pavilion online, meeting minute hosting, and other features that we can take advantage of over time. I'm going to dispense with some of the more technical information. The cost, the total project cost is $25,000 to be spread over 5 years, a 5-year period, which fits into our existing pre-approved budget. And we had to work with them a bit, and I give Isla Connell great credit for bringing the price down so that we could actually work with them. The timeline estimated at 6 months to launch. So what we're going to go through now between March and April, Isla's going to lead the implementation and meet with the different town departments and committees to review the required content. May to July, the Civic Plus website is going to be built and configured. August is the final review, the question and answer and final review, and the training of departments on how to post updates to the new site. And then September, we hope to go live. So it's going to be a lot of work in the coming months, but I think it's going to be worth it. And hopefully they're all the same. Thank you, thank you. Any questions? So what I think we need to do is we have to have a motion to accept that, or is, because it's already in the budget, do we need?
So
You do.
I'd like to maybe look at the contract too, or,
Yeah,
we definitely would need a resolution, because we're extending.
okay. Yeah, we can get the contract. I can share that with you.
Yeah.
I'll share it with everyone. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so,
Yeah,
just,
okay.
just to make sure,
Sure.
that we look at that, but I'm certain that it's probably just fine.
Yeah.
Um,
So Monica, I could also send you.
Yep.
I'll send you the file, with the presentation, but we couldn't get it up on the screen today. But just for a reference, this company, Civic Plus, and you'll be able to see this when it gets posted online, but they represent the village of Red Hook, Friendswood, Texas, Amityville in New York, the horror of Amityville, Shelter Island, New York, and a variety of others. And you'll be able to see those on the website and what their visuals look like. So I think you'll be happy with it. We're happy with the decision, and glad that it's a go.
If, just a suggestion, maybe do a motion to accept it with the provision of that you all are going to review the contract, just so that it doesn't hold up the timeline. Because I think there's a
Yeah.
timeline set in
Yeah.
place.
I know, I was gonna say, this is kind of where we ended up last year. Things have to be voted on by the town board. This, just because the committee is recommending this,
Right.
we still have to vote on it, we still have to approve it. If we don't, then it's just where we've always been.
Okay, I do have the contract that I can share.
That would be great.
Okay, but let's make that motion.
I'll make a motion to go ahead with it, upon reviewing the contract. But let's go ahead with the process.
Yeah,
I'll second that.
all in favor?
I,
Okay, great. Just from the public questions. Certainly, I would expect people could actually go to Red Hook's website. They could go to Shelter Island and Amityville website. And you could actually go through and just see what their websites are like and how they work. Obviously, we will have our own needs that will be different, but you know, at
Right.
least you can
it
see.
will be customized for us, so it
Yeah.
will not all be the same. You can see how they vary from town to town, see what other towns do.
Yeah, thank you. This is it's very needed. Thank you. Okay, so I'll go on to the supervisor's report, which is in the packet. So in January and into February, I started at the county level serving on public safety, public works. We've had several hires approved through the sheriff's office and the district attorney's office and Columbia 911. They were all pre-budgeted hires, and they were able to be filled. And they also had an emergency fill for a dispatcher. One wanted to be demoted, not in a negative way, and one got moved up, so that was taken care of. And we also approved a contract, actually, to work an MOU or an understanding between Greene County or Ulster County and Columbia County to have access to disaster land. Have you heard of that, Dave? It's like it's for incident management software is basically what it is. And
Why are we working with Ulster County though?
they actually had, the way I understood it is that they had the original contract with it, with the program. And so, and were willing to work with us, I guess, and to allow us to cost share with that. The nice thing is that Columbia County is responsible for 40% of it. They carry 60%, which makes sense. Ulster County is a bigger county. And overall, it would save our county about $41,000 by entering into this agreement rather than trying to go ahead and buy it online. So that worked out well. And the county also approved the contract renewals for EMS. So Community Rescue, Greenport, Valatia, and Chatham Rescue were all approved. Something you might see coming up, and I know Dave is aware of this too, that you may see instances where Greenport may be out here maybe a little more frequently. Basically, as I understand it, Northern Dutchess, who also used to come into the county, you've probably all seen Northern Dutchess ambulances around, were bought out. And the new company doesn't particularly want to come into Columbia County. So places like Gallatin, Livingston, they ended up having a contract with Greenport or Community. One of them also does Community. So you might see a little differences in the ambulances, but they ensure us that there will be full coverage, no problem. So
Greenport expanded to a location that was in Livingston and is actually mutual aid for community. So it used to be anytime community was busy, we were seeing Northern Dutchess. Well, now you're going to see Greenport Rescue Squad ambulances, and quite honestly, they've been just about at every single call we've had for the last month has turned out to be Greenport because I guess community's been extremely busy.
yeah. Yeah, so you might, slight changes. As far as Public Works, we had a very long meeting both in January and February. I asked Ray about the bridge in Ancrumdale. I know that there's a lot of residents that ask about that. He clarified to me, I didn't realize this, that it's not a bridge, it's a culvert. And he said when he first took the position as engineer, he did go out and look at it. And because the county is responsible, right? And he said, it is on his radar that it, due to its age but he did not comment on the condition and did not give me any ideas of if there was any idea to change it. Jim, I don't know if you've ever heard whether they want to do anything. So he did. Right, I know. So anyway, he did clarify that. So the county is aware of it, is basically what he was saying. And also, as part of Public Works, we discussed the solid waste issues in the county. And I expressed to Wendy, who is the head of solid waste, that quite a few of our constituents, residents have been coming into us and asking, why have you closed the Gallatin transfer station for recycling? And I was told a couple of different things, basically that they didn't have staff and that she urges everyone to send their complaints directly to them because they are tracking this, where the complaints are coming from. And still the plan is still to open it in April, but I did express to her that it concerns me that it's harder for our residents, especially in the winter, to have to travel longer distances if they're using the county recycling, especially elderly people. That's not, something that our community is really in favor of. So, and I filled out a survey, submitted it to them basically with that intent too. So, they bought some new equipment and tractors and some other attachments for the tractors that will be helping for snow removal at some places. And early February, I got our sales tax, which was $116,754.01, which is slightly up from last year. So, and the last thing I did this week is I went to the Association of Towns training down in Manhattan. So I was there for 2 days and I took a bunch of different classes on budgeting, capital planning, investment strategies, union negotiations, which was very interesting, and communication technology. So my head is at this point like totally filled with all of this stuff that I have to triage out. So that's it for me. Your turn.
Well, we've been kind of busy lately. We had 16 days, 7 days we were out in January, facing the drifts, ice, all of them. We go to trucks, we storms, we can ready for the next one. Going out again tomorrow. We then reached out, talked to our standard salt supplies. Salt has been getting very difficult to get, we ice on the river. And I ordered 100 tons about just a few weeks ago now, and I got one load of it. So. Luckily, we have an active. But I'm just used. For that about 50% of it. And on last note, when the thaw does come, expect our dirt roads to go to Quagmire. More. Either propane delivery, oil delivery, get it in now. Or go forward. Thank you, Mark. That's probably.
Thanks, Jim. I really want to thank you and all of the guys for the work that you did, especially it's been really tough on you, the cold, and then all that snow. I mean, you did a great job. You did.
And,
Yeah. It's a good lineup.
Before I give my oral report here, I just wanted to say, it's kind of a thank you. Tuesday night, I'm sure most of you have already heard, my father took a spill in their driveway and, cracked his head open. My sister found him half under the car and it wasn't pretty. He was not conscious. My mother called 911, and me. And community rescue squad came. I believe it was community. I didn't pay that much attention to the side of the vehicle and triaged him and got him stable and alert to some point. I tucked my head in because I knew he had a head injury and I figured they would fly him out. And I said, "Are you going to fly him out?" And they said, "Yes, we're just looking for a landing zone." And I said, "Aha." I said, "We have a helipad at the town hall." And my father, who did not know his own name at that point, perked up and said, "Yes, my daughter has a helipad." And I had to explain it was not personally my helipad. He was flown to Albany Med. They put staples in his head and we came home about 3-4 o'clock in the morning on Wednesday. So I apologize to anybody who may have come in on Wednesday to see me. I had not slept, so I stayed home. The reason for my saying this is I want to say thank you to the rescue squad, to the helicopter squad, to the highway department for keeping that thing clean, for Colarusso for helping us to build it. But most especially as well want to say, you know, there's a lot of times, a lot of us are on committees here and we're on boards here and they're volunteer positions. And there are times that we have a meeting and it may be raining out or we want to go to dinner and we say, you know, I don't feel like I'm a volunteer. It doesn't matter. We have a group of volunteers in this community who it could be a snowstorm. It could be the middle of the night. They could be at a birthday party. And when the tones go off, they run and they meet us at our most vulnerable moments. And when we came around the corner the other night and I saw that fire truck sitting out there, I thought to myself, we're going to be okay. So I want to say thank you to our volunteer fire department for always being there in our darkest times and making sure that this community is taken care of and that we get the help that we need. And so this is my plea to you to volunteer, to donate, and to keep this organization here in this town when it's getting very hard to find volunteers. Thank you. So now for my report. I have collected thus far for the year 77% of my tax roll. I still have a little under $800,000 to collect. For the month of January, I sold 54 recycling permits. And I did 20 certified copies and we did 10 dog licenses. I had a very busy month. And Meerkat was here. I can report that we have caught 2 mice in the last 2 months. And he said the outside bait stations have been extremely busy. So that means that we're catching the little critters before they make entrance into this building, which is a good thing. So, and that, oh, and on the assessment side, the 1st of March is coming around the corner. Please, if you have your exemption paperwork for an ag exemption or the STAR exemptions that we send out, please make sure you get them into us. I will be reaching out to people starting next week that I haven't seen yet. And that's it.
Does anyone have any comments on anything we've covered thus so far from the public? Yes, Stuart.
Just a question, Colleen, really for you and Amy. With you now being on this public safety board
Yes.
at the county level, is there any chance that that might give you some leverage to help Amy go back and see if we could revisit the topic of a safety crosswalk from Glassfield on the front of the street, which got some quite a bit pushback on next time. I don't know if you being on that committee will have it change, but that's certainly something I think ready to get put in.
Yeah, that's a great idea. It was actually Ray Jakowski that I was working with, who denied us the crosswalk last year.
I will talk to Mr. Jakowski. At least I can get some, additional information. If you're denying it, why? Where would you suggest if we were to put one in where it should go?
Well,
And
we have to go back, pay for another study to be done.
I'll tell him that's not going to happen.
One of the
Yeah.
biggest problems I talked to him one day when he was out is where the entrance goes into the ball field. If you put a crosswalk right there, it comes out in the middle of the parking lot.
Right,
And they're not. He said, if you're gonna put a crosswalk in, you've got to move it up the roadway a ways or down the roadway a ways, and then it doesn't correspond to your entrance.
right.
They're not gonna put one in right there. Because he said, if anything, we'd almost have to put up a street light because of the corner and the buildings and everything else. I doubt highly. And I think your study would end up like the last one. That there's not enough traffic there per se. And I'm not saying it's not dangerous. I'm not saying it's not a problem. I just know that on roadways like that, they have certain parameters they have to meet and you never understand them. It's just like when we talked about our assessed valuations. What makes sense to us doesn't always make sense to the people in control of things.
True, true.
We also tried to rectify that problem with people walking across, because parents were parking at the little store or the post office. So what we did is we had the camp counselors and Taylor and everybody park facing the field along the bank. So then that opened up more parking. So we had more people coming in. They felt comfortable to come in, drop off their kid and then go out. So we tried to rectify that a little bit, but I don't know.
Okay. All right. So, okay, Councilwoman Boyce, do you have anything to report or any issues or questions?
The one question I have is the closing of the transfer station.
Mhm.
I'm a little worried because it says she urged us to send the complaints to her office because they are trying to keep track of the overall response from Gallatin and New Lebanon,
Mhm.
where the first closures had occurred.
Mhm.
So I'm a little worried if that means, like, can we really push our complaints more? Like, can we get people really, like, she thinks it's only gonna be a few complaints. Can we push, can we tell people or put that information out? This is where we want you to call to complain.
I have been.
Okay, because if we can push that a little bit more, this makes me a
Okay.
little worried. I'm not saying it's gonna happen. I'm just saying I'm a little shocked to see that.
Yeah, when she said that, I said, "Well, okay, we will send them your way so that you can fully track this because she was under the impression that everything was great and fine. And I said, that's not my impression, and that is not the way the people in this town feel about it. It is, it's
Yes.
meant to open back up in April. I'm always a little concerned about it, and I am still learning about all the costs that go into recycling. And the issue is always, are they at least recouping the cost to provide the service? That's what their big thing is. I mean, from my point of view, that's the biggest thing. I look at a closure like that is job opportunities are lost. If you're closing things like that, it's bad for the residents that have to travel longer. So when she sat there and said, "Oh, we haven't heard really anything negative from Ankrum and Gallatin," I said, "Really?"
That's because they're taking it out on us.
Yeah, I
That's
said,
what I was
really?
thinking.
That's not what I've heard, and that's not what my clerk has heard. And the other issue that some of the other clerks have mentioned is if they are issuing all of the recycling permits, especially during tax season, how is that affecting you while you're trying to collect taxes and you're trying to also do permits? So we may think of a way to try to help alleviate that too. For the next few years.
My-
Hillsdale's been having an issue.
Yeah, and I know Kinderhook, I know April said last year, she was saying that she in Chatham, they had lines out the door.
Yeah.
And for me, it's not so much that you saw how much I've sold, which is a lot for here. My main problem all along has been we're taking our most vulnerable population and sending them on a wild goose chase to a second site
Yep.
to be able to get a little bit of a discount, which they need because a lot of them are on fixed incomes. They're out on the ice and in bad weather trying to get here to get tagged. It's just, I don't know. I've never fully agreed with the situation, but I'm just the clerk.
Well, it affects you, and
Mhm.
that's, an issue. So,
The only other things I have is, again, just like you had said, thanks for the highway guys for being out there. It was some really horrible, drifting, late nights, long hours, early mornings, and, I realized it was a very tough winter, tough season. So again, thank you. Yeah, the last thing is I was just, these guys know I've been we are a warming center, and so I'm trying to make the kitchen more functionable, like, there's things all over. Discarded food from 2005. There's been some pretty old things, so we're trying to update that a little bit so that if we ever have to use it, it's available and it's kind of updated and there's actually things you can use in there. So, but that's it.
thank you for that.
Ugh.
If you have a special mug or anything like that.
It may or
it's
may,
on.
I was gonna say, it may or may not be there. If you
It-
have a special mug, it may not be there.
It's probably not. I got overzealous one day.
But no, that it really needed it, and thank you, Jen, for doing that.
was some
Yeah, for
pretty old
taking on the
food.
initiative.
2010,
Yeah.
2005.
Canned goods, and we don't really know where they came from,
They could pretty much walk out on their own, is what
which
you're
is
saying.
a little
Yeah.
sketchy.
Tell the guy for the mouse control, not to put the trap in there so that you can get your hand trap first. So it was a close one. Phew, alrighty.
Councilman Boyce, do you have anything you'd like to?
I got a couple things. Number one, along the lines of everything that Monica was saying earlier, we had to land a helicopter on the landing pad here this week, and it's I believe, the first time we've used it in the winter time. And I have to tell you, it's something that we have talked about, and a lot of people asked why we needed it. And I've been telling everybody for quite some time. In the summertime, we can land in hayfields, we land other places. But in the wintertime, when there's a lot of snow on the ground, we need one designated spot. And, this is the place that we can do it. And uh, it was pretty incredible the other night to be able to say, go to this location and pull in, and it's completely plowed, everything's ready, and all we had to do was light the scene up. We were actually requested to land a helicopter in late January. Uh, Unfortunately, that helicopter was canceled because of the condition of the patient. It happens more than anybody knows. We're landing helicopters multiple times a year anymore. Fortunately, we haven't had to do too many in the wintertime, but it is where it is. And I want to thank all the guys that came out and helped out. I want to thank, as I said, the town highway for making sure that they maintain it. And, the fact that we got it put in and got it set and ready for us. Couple other things. We discussed I believe, I think it was either January or might have even been earlier on, changing the locks and changing some of the security here in the firehouse, and we got an estimate on it. I'm gonna point out, we just talked about the sales tax, which we got in, which was $11,000 higher than the last one. And while that's actually 10% of the amount. And if that were to happen 4 quarters in a row, we'd have way more than enough money to take care of upgrading the security in the town, in the town hall, the way we wanted to. And I think we need to revisit that. I know it was a state bid. I think we should be looking at doing that. We've talked about changing locks and changing keys, but that's only, until again, when you get keys out there that you don't know about, you're going to be changing them again and doing it again and spending the money. So I think we should look at the other system, because that adds a lot of layers to it and makes it much better for our facility. And the other thing is, I've heard a lot, I've seen different emails, had people talk to me, quite a few people talk to me, and I actually mentioned it. I believe when I talked about Dennis Sigler not wanting to be on the ZRC, about several things I'd been hearing about the ZRC doing. I've heard a bunch of stuff about that. As a town board, we need to talk together. We need to be working to give our committees more direction, I believe. I think we need to make certain that our committees know that even though they find out information, they get things set up and they get ready to go, it has to come back to the town board to be voted on and okayed and set up to be done. That's not how this works. And, I also, some of the things I've heard people say and talk about, the ZRC is a zoning revisions committee, not a zoning add-on committee. That's the reason it's called revisions. I think we need to look at that and really discuss that as a group, as a town board. So that's enough for me for one night.
So are you thinking of just making sure that we have like clear defined objectives for them so that they understand what they're.
When I talked to multiple people, they said that the zoning revisions committee, when they were asked to be on it, they were told that they were going to be clarifying zoning and making it easier to deal with, and to make it so that we could have easier, faster housing plans. And instead, we're adding stuff to it. That's not what it was about. I think we've got to be careful what we're doing. We've talked about affordability, we've talked about everything, but we want to add, and I've heard right now, you've all seen the emails that we had ZRC members say that it doesn't matter what it costs, the people wanting to do this can pay for it. That's not a good attitude for anybody on any one of our boards. I'm sorry, that's just wrong. You should be regarding costs at all times. And actually, I thought of one more thing. Now that I got talking about costs. We interviewed a bunch of people to be on our town board this month, and I thought they all did a fine job. I want to commend everybody that wanted to be on. We did not come to any agreements on who we should appoint. But it was pretty amazing to me. I heard there were a lot of questions asked of all the representatives. They were never asked what they thought about how much our taxes are, what our taxes are about, or about our assessed valuations in the town. And here we are tonight, we're discussing assessed valuations again already. I think those candidates, those prospective town board members, that should have been questions they were asked then, and we were more worried about solar panels and cell towers than what our taxes are.
Okay, does anyone have any questions from the public or comments? Okay, just make sure you state your name for everyone online. Please, is it not on? I think it is. Is there any sitting on the screen? Okay. Oh, it's like.
Hey,
Okay. I don't know. Okay. Okay. Well, very light glass. He said it's very sensitive. It has to stay in the stand and you have to come up to it because it's like, it's about rope. I don't know how to do that.
Try it. If not, I'll give you mine.
Yeah, or you can take mine.
Oh, yeah, you're on.
Yeah.
I serve on the PRC, and I'd like to respond to what David said. The last meeting, we had a very long discussion about what our purpose is. And he brought that up, and then we talked about the fact that we do get a little bit more guidance maybe from the town board, but our original goal, somebody pointed out, was that up to the taking the zoning laws and working with the comp plan as it was revised. And taking the zoning laws, fitting with the comp plan, that was our original idea. And so, I think we got off on some other different tangents, and this point we're trying to get back to exactly what was on the comp plan. And everything we've done has come before the town board to be clear. Art was the, Hugh was served for many years, and everything we did, and we wrote public hearings and votes by the town board. So we're not doing anything the town board does eventually do. And it can be changed by board decisions, and if we go back to the committee, we can fix it. We're definitely taking a look at how we're moving forward. We don't need all this so far, but we got some great new members. Just recently, so I'm confident that we can have a little bit of a reset, and I think that's what we're going to do. Thank you.
That's another point. We're told they got new members. We appointed members at the organizational meeting. We didn't appoint new members, to my knowledge. That's members get included on the town committee when the board appoints them.
Okay, yeah,
Well, we haven't voted on new members,
yeah, we just need new.
and I won't.
I think Paul said he wants, yes, you can go ahead and admit her. Carol, can you unmute yourself?
mute. Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can, thank you.
Okay, boy, a lot has been said. But before before I even go into what I had planned to say, and I respond to David, and I would like to thank the highway crew. I see them at 4:30 in the morning on snow days, and I often see them two or more times that day. I want to thank you, Monica, for highlighting all of our volunteers. They put in time for training and freely give service. And we are a volunteer, the ZRC is a volunteer committee. And first of all, I sent in to Monica a list of on new people that the ZRC approved as members and would like them to be approved of. It's up to you, but that's where it is, David. Ask Monica for the list and you can do it.
I emailed,
I got the list, but I know we didn't vote on them, so you don't have new members yet, do you?
Well, they're sitting in, but you have to approve them. I can't make you vote on them, David. I sent it in. Please vote on them, yes or no. I'm whatever it is, we need to go, but I sent the list in. I would I would also like you to say, you said people came in and they were told the purpose of the committee was to make it easier to deal with. If you take a look at our advertisements, what we put out, and it's written down, that was people want to do that. We'd like to do that. We try to do that. Our main purpose is to align the zoning laws with the comp plan. If that's not our main purpose, please tell us. We take our purpose from the zoning law. Now, I would love more direction. We had met, we said we need more direction. We have a subcommittee, if you want to call it that, who has trying to put together what we consider our purpose is. And I had said at that meeting, and you could listen to the audio of the meeting, that after we define what we think our purpose is, it must be approved by the town board. And Steve and Bonnie are there, and they will be able to vouch for that. David, do you have any other question for me?
No.
Okay, then I want to go on to, please, very quickly, why I wanted to speak before all this came up. At the last town board meeting, there was a public complaint that implied the ZRT does not listen to and discuss opposing views, that we don't value expertise, and that we want to impose, quote, a tyranny of rules on the town. More was said, but those comments particularly impugn the integrity and the honesty and the hard work of the volunteers on that committee. And none of it is true. We have a set of rules given to every member, and I can send it to the board if they want. Hugh Clark put them together, and they're terrific. It requires that we listen to all members' contributions and we respect all members. And we have abided by that. We listen and we discuss everything. But that does not mean that in the end we agree with the contribution. The ZRC, we work by consensus. When something is sent to you, it has been agreed by a consensus of the committee. The ZRC has been charged with aligning the Ancrum current laws with the goals of the comprehensive plan. That is what we do. We are meticulous in examining the wording and intent of all town regulations. And if we believe a change is necessary, it is approved by consensus. 99.9% of the time, the consensus is unanimous. There is no one ZRC subgroup imposing tyranny on this town. We are all volunteers doing our best to do something positive for Ancrum. It would be ideal if our members, volunteers, were lawyers. But rest assured that we do not operate in a vacuum of expertise. Whatever regulations we finally suggest to the town board will have been guided by the comprehensive plan, will have been vetted by both John Lyons, the town lawyer, and the town planner, Nan Stolzenberg. We do not work in a vacuum. If you have the slightest inkling that we are not acting equitably or in line with what you would like us to do, I invite you to investigate that accusation. You review our minutes and the audios of our meetings, and you interview our current and former members so that you can be sure that the ZRC is working with the utmost integrity, with openness and concern, in an honest attempt to serve the town of Ankrum. I am proud to be part of committee, and I am proud of every member of that committee. When we have a dispute, we talk, I shouldn't say a dispute, when we have opposing views, we discuss it and we find a way forward for the best of the town. I've had my say. Thank you.
Okay, we're gonna move on. So a couple of things in our old business. Both the solar panels and the EV charger are tabled until we can find some sort of funding source to do so. Our budget cannot handle doing much with that at this point. I've left them on there so that we can perhaps in the future work to actually do something with those projects. But we had a workshop prior to this meeting and we discussed the escrow law. And so I just wanted to let you know that we're working on updating that to make it a little bit more user friendly, and also to make the point of contact not be the town clerk, but being the planning and zoning clerks, as they know more information about what escrow goes to what projects. So that's that. And we are also starting to work on the 250th year celebration. We discussed that at the workshop as well. And one thing is, it would be great if we could get some additional volunteers that might want to work on the committee with us. We've all kind of agreed that we're going to all have a stake in it as well. But we would like it if anyone reached out to us if they're interested in helping us plan something fun for the community. And as far as new business, we are starting to look at the kids camp that we discussed that in our workshop meeting as well. Taylor Price and I have talked about the program for this year. Doesn't look like there's going to be too many changes with it. We also discussed the possibility of charging a very small fee for residents or no fee for residents. We don't know what we're going to do yet, but we're looking at different ways that we might want to go about doing that. And Taylor will be here at the next board meeting to talk about her plans as she's hammered them out a little bit more. And the last thing on new business, I received this just before the last board meeting. We have a contract that we have to sign every year with the sheriff's office, and that is for services during court. So they come during court, they act as the bailiff. And so I just would need a motion to execute that contract. It is in your handouts as well.
It's at the end.
It's at the very end of the handouts, but I just,
And nothing is changed, or is it just
it's all very standard. All the towns have the same.
that's a cost too, right?
It is a cost, and it is within our budget. We do budget for that. So
I make a motion?
Yes, second it.
Did you want to talk?
all in favor? Aye. Awesome.
What?
Okay, and the last thing before we go ahead and eventually finish up is I would entertain a motion to enter into executive session to discuss the medical, financial, credit, or employment history of a particular person, corporation, relating to appointment, promotion, demotion, discipline, and removal, and also pending or current litigation.
Oh, I make a motion. I'm sorry.
I just need a second. Or, well, you're the second. I
Okay,
made the
I'll be
motion,
second.
so
We're good.
all in favor? Okay,
Aye.
awesome. And we should be back fairly soon.
This is what I'm taking off of-
Yes,
That's all I said, it's not.
I think, don't they stop it during, they stop the recording?
You
Or
can stop,
pause it?
yeah, or you can stop or pause. Just pause it, please, stop it, or pause it.
Just like, was like, back.
Yeah, that's what.
I'll entertain a motion to come back to close the executive session and come back into regular session.
Second,
All right. Before I forget, in your packet, I got a late letter from Ed, our inspector, asking for approval to attend his training.
I make a motion, we allow them to attend the training.
Awesome. So I will let him know. And okay, and the big things, let's see. I will entertain a motion to
I make a motion to
Pay the bills.
pay the bills and the warrants.
second,
Okay.
Make a motion.
Motion to adjourn
I
after
didn't even
that.
ask you. I'll second that.
Here's what I was talking about.
Thank you, everyone.
That's when you got it, I mean, they take, you've seen.
Oh,
their
is this
specs.
I know, I think. this is the
No.
first step.
No, but I mean, when we've gone to Florida, I've handed out set specs and you see how deal they are. But I mean, these